is some cloud coverage heading our way that has the potential for some non-severe looking thunderstorms. So we'll look outside right now and you can see one of the shots there out in the distance beyond the city skyline. That's the system tracking just to the north of us. We're sitting at our forecast high right now of 21 degrees, breezy conditions out there as well. Here's our watches and warnings set up right now. So the yellow is the watch, and that's predominantly what we're dealing with today in Alberta. And here's a look at the storm track right now. So like I said, nothing imminent coming directly to Calgary, but certainly some cell development just to the north of us, close to Airdrie there on the QE2. It's also warm today and will continue to get warm. Right now at Tizah Park, it is 22 degrees. The Big Four is having its grand opening sales event at Tizah Park. We'll track those storms in real time coming up, Ian.
This could actually be the hottest weekend of the year so far.
And that is exciting, but we're not even talking about 30-degree temperatures. The hottest we've been so far this year, 26.2 degrees. We saw that earlier in June and in May. We're going to see a similar, if not slightly warmer setup for Saturday and Sunday. But we have to get through today first, where there is an active weather situation still brewing around Calgary. Not so much towards the city right now, but as you look at our Capital Chev Skywatch camera there, you can see in the distance one of those systems tracking more north of the city here along the QE2. So if you are in that Airdrie area, you're going to see that storm potential really start to develop right now. This was the outlook set up from Environment Canada today. So we are in the yellow here. There's that moderate risk for hail up to 2 to 3 centimeters in diameter. Funnel cloud development around Edmonton there. And it really is on par with the watches and warnings that we're seeing right now. In fact, in the Monarch area, there's a severe thunderstorm warning in effect, not just a watch. And that certainly makes sense when we look at the radar satellite. Some activity tracking towards Calgary, but really the bulk of the more intense storm cells are right to the north of us. Again, along QE2, Carstairs, Olds, starting to see that development track around Three Hills there. So that's where more of that hail situation is going to be. Then to the south of us, also along Highway 2 there, this is where our severe thunderstorm warning situation is. Tracking towards Lethbridge as well. And with this warning now, that means the potential for hail up to 5 centimeters in diameter and a lot of lightning as well. As we add that layer to this system here, you can see very active setup. Non-severe still when we talk about what storms can be like as we enter the summer season, but there's still that risk there, especially when it comes to the hail and lightning and the wind speeds. Temperature is the other story we're focusing on throughout the weekend here. The first weekend of summer, 20 degrees in Lethbridge right now, 22 in Calgary, and 25 in Medicine Hat. So looking at that 22 in Calgary, that actually beat our forecast high of 21 for today. So we're continuing that upwards warming trend, especially with all this warm wind moving in, and that's the case in parts of central Alberta as well. This is your look at tomorrow with your highs. So 25 for us here in Calgary, 28 in Brooks and Medicine Hat. Those areas also could encounter their warmest weekend yet too. By Sunday, places like Medicine Hat could get up to 32 degrees. Here's that embedded low in the midst of this warm air that's causing the instability. This starts to move out, get a nice ridge of high pressure by the time we enter Saturday there. Hold on to warm air despite more low pressure moving into BC. We get this upswing of warm air in southern Alberta. So it'll be warm, sunny and breezy for your Sunday, and similar situation for Monday as well. Some overnight showers possible in parts of central Alberta, but for us here in the south, it's looking to be stable and breezy. But we'll get a shakeup as we get later into next week. But your 5-day forecast by Capital Chev, really nice weekend. Sunny, windy, high UV index, so lather on the sunscreen, but enjoy being outside, but be mindful of conserving water as well.
Let's check in with Gina again as we look ahead to our weekend forecast.
Yes, and we still have a pretty active storm situation, especially to the south of us. If you're in that Lethbridge area right now, severe thunderstorm warning now in effect. What we're seeing in yellow mostly here are watches, and that does include Calgary as well. And when I add on our radar satellite here, this is what we're dealing with right now. So a lot of scattered showers, but definitely some embedded thunderstorms within those pockets of rain as well. Diving in closer to Calgary here, this is what we're seeing right now. So still more of the storm setup to the north of us. but I'm keeping an eye on this little system here starting to develop. It could track towards Calgary, but a little far out to determine exactly its trajectory, but looks to be in a southeasterly direction. As for that Lethbridge area that I just mentioned, a very strong storm situation tracking through right now, and we're really starting to see that development right along Taber there and approaching to it. So this system, why it triggered the severe thunderstorm warning, nickel-sized hail possible, a lot of rain and strong winds as well. So take cover if you are in that area. I wouldn't be outdoors right now. Temperature-wise is our other story we're talking about throughout the weekend. After today, things are really going to heat up. We're already at 20 degrees. Our high was 22 earlier today, and we're seeing those nice temperature values to the north of us as well. And we're going to crank up the heat as we get into your Saturday. Up to 25 degrees here in Calgary, 28 in Brooks and Medicine Hat, and that southeast corner could even see temperatures get into the 30s by Sunday. It's all fueled by some nice warm air tracking in for both Saturday and Sunday. So we'll walk through that in more detail in our next weather hit here. But really the next 5 days on your Capital Chev 5-day forecast are looking pretty good and stable for the most part. That ridge of high pressure starts to move in on your Saturday there up to a high of 25 degrees. Strong southeasterly winds at around 20 kilometers an hour and a high UV index as well. So if you're going to be outdoors, make sure to bring the hat and the sunscreen. Windy on Sunday, but lots of sunshine too. Potentially our warmest day of the year so far will be on Sunday. But overall, Tara, this is shaping up to be our warmest weekend as we head into summer.
Beautiful. Thank you.
This is a look outside right now through your Capital Chev Skywatch camera. We do have those thunderstorm watches still in effect over the city, but it's looking pretty quiet on our radar satellite, and I'll show you that in more detail in just a moment. Let's take a look outside right now at our other Capital Chev camera here at what we're dealing with currently. Really nice temperatures out there. We're at 20 degrees. Today's high actually got up to 22, so it was a really nice warm above seasonal day out there, and that warming trend is just going to ramp up as we get throughout the weekend here. It could potentially be our warmest weekend of the year so far, and we have really beautiful temperatures. But right now, if you're outside or about to head outside, you will experience some breezy conditions out there from a northeasterly direction. When I was doing my live hit outside, I definitely felt a bit of a brisk chill to the air. And there is still the potential with our watches and warnings here of maybe some storm activity tracking into Calgary. It's just appearing pretty weak right now. We're seeing our setup here, just most of our storm systems tracking just to the north of Calgary, but mostly to the south of it. You'll see in orange there, that is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now. So Lethbridge experiencing a pretty strong storm system, and this is tracking into the Taber area, even can make its way up to Medicine Hat if it maintains the energy. And with that severe thunderstorm warning, nickel-sized hail, heavy rain, and strong winds. But this is tracking quite fast, and we're starting to see this embedded low pressure system that's really fueling the instability in the province right now start to move out and break up as we get into Saturday. Then we get a really nice ridge of high pressure develop, so that's going to keep things stable but fairly breezy from a southerly direction. That's going to warm us up to a high of 25 degrees tomorrow. We hold on to that heat too even as we get into Sunday. We do have this low pressure system tracking in from the Pacific, but we're on the south side of the jet stream still, so we're just getting breezy warm air tracking in still in stable conditions. We're getting the influence of the high pressure ridge still. Even this zonal flow on a Sunday, Monday here, it looks like something should be disturbing us, but again, south side of the jet stream, zonal flow, which means breezy but stable conditions. Walking through your regional forecast here, you can see really beautiful temperatures. Even on Sunday, we're seeing areas like Drumheller and Lethbridge get into the 30s for the first time this year. We'll get pretty warm too. We might set a new, not temperature record, but our warmest temperature of the year by Sunday, but nothing too hot in the forecast for us. We'll see highs into the mid to high 20s for Saturday and Sunday on your Capital Chev 7-day trend here. Then we stabilize Monday, Tuesday before we start to cool off, Tara, by Thursday.
Thank you, Gina.